Hi guys, today's video, Chipotle and how they leverage robotics. In this video, we're going to be looking at, Chippy, one of their amazing robots, and we're going to look at some information from Yahoo Finance. Then we're going to look at how they're leveraging robotics companies, and then we're going to look at the wider implications of this. So let's jump into some of this right now. So this is their wider stuff, but let's look at Chippy. Yeah, so this is Chippy testing out a robot named Chippy to make its tortilla chips, right? The restaurant chain announced it was testing out a robot that uses AI to make tortilla chips named Chippy. It's the first and only chip-making robot in the world. Chipotle's culinary team worked with robot maker Miso Robotics to perfect Chippy, tailoring its technology to replicate their exact recipe. Now, I've got videos on Miso Robotics. I'm an investor in these guys, so check out those videos if you're interested. But let's have a look. Look at it. It looks pretty cool. It's got their articulated arm, which does a lot of these things, and it actually makes these things automatically. It's amazing. So the CEO of Miso Robotics mentioned when Chipotle challenged us to see if we could make something, for the brand's high standards, we couldn't wait to flex our engineering and design muscles. This partnership will allow us to move into new territory to help improve back of house functions and assist team members with their day-to-day responsibilities. So Chipotle has actually come up to Miso Robotics and said, what can you do about this? And Chipotle are really interested in robotics. Let's have a look at what else. Got a video here. Let's get this on. Yahoo Finance talking about how Chipotle are trying to leverage robotics in general.
Earnings report, and the fast casual chain also says the second quarter started off very well. Joining us now is Chipotle CFO Jack Hartung to dig into the earnings. Jack, great to see you here. Let's start on inflation. It was a big topic on the earnings call last night. Have you seen any signs that inflation is starting to ease over at Chipotle?
Yeah, Brian, inflation is real. I mean, it's been happening for several months now. And,
stick with us, guys. This is a video from 2022, but keep watching because it might not be relevant. You can always skip, 20, 30 seconds or whatever.
And we don't see any signs that it's going to retreat.
To skip to the robotics bit.
Or go down in the future. We have seen a month now, a month and a half, call it, of stable pricing. That's not enough to call it a pattern. It's not enough to say inflation is over, but it's been nice after seeing, several months of inflation on most of our ingredients to see a little bit of a pause. And, hopefully this pause will turn into more stable prices going forward, but it's hard to predict right now.
Pause is certainly good to hear. When you break it down in terms of line item, where is the biggest inflation? Is it an ingredient like avocados, or is it on labor?
Labor, the inflation on labor really hit us mostly in the second quarter of last year. And that's when we took a significant increase in wages. We increased wages 15%. That was to get our average minimum wage to $15. Since then, I would say labor has normalized. It doesn't mean inflation went away, but it's been normal.
The reason they're talking about inflation on this video is that robots are deflationary. They reduce costs, which reduces inflation in the general market and increases earnings for companies like Chipotle and other companies like them. I'm going to be talking about some other companies that you can invest in later in this video, so keep watching.
Well, step up since then. From an ingredient standpoint, it's been most of our major ingredients. If you look at it year over year, beef has gone up, tortillas has gone up because of higher costs of wheat, avocados have gone up as well. Of course, fuel prices have gone up. So when you're talking about freight or distribution to get ingredients into our restaurant, all those are under pressure.
Hey, Jack, it's Julie here. I know that the analyst commentary I was looking at, people were reassured by your margin forecast for the current quarter, even if they were a little disappointed by the margins last quarter. I'm curious where you feel like you are in terms of raising prices as you react to inflation. That is it reactive? Are you sort of chasing it? Or do you feel like you're able to get out ahead of it at this point?
Yeah, we don't really want to get out ahead of it.
Right, this is all about the earnings. I want to just see if we can jump a little bit. Apologies. We might talk about
sort of reacting to inflation, not just at Chipotle, but everywhere.
We don't, Julie. We don't have a lot of room for our customers to trade down. We don't have like a small burrito, but we also don't see people trading from steak down to chicken. Try it entree. They love guacamole, and so our guacamole attachment rate is still above 50%. And so when our customers come in for a Chipotle meal, they want the chicken or the steak that they always get. They want the guacamole with the chips, and so we're not seeing any trade down at all.
Or like me, Jack, you just get both. You put it in a bowl and you just enjoy your dinner, lunch, and in some cases breakfast. Let me ask you this lastly. Since we last spoke, you debuted a robot called Chippy, and I was tweeting this and folks were making fun of me, but you're now going to install Chippy the robot in one of your Southern California restaurants, I guess, to make chips. But are there other areas you're looking at that you could bring robots into these restaurants where it makes sense?
There is.
Yeah, listen, Chippy is pretty exciting. It's we've had it in our culinary environment, our culinary kitchen to test it and make sure that the chips that come from Chippy are delicious. We're not going to try it in a restaurant where our crews and managers have a chance to try it. Our approach, Brian, is going to be to look at areas where it's a very repetitive task, a task that our crew don't love doing. And so we can automate that and really enhance the experience that our crews have. We're going to do it in a way, though, where the culinary is as good, if not better, than if we do it by hand.
So that's really interesting. They're testing this. They approach Miso Robotics. We'll talk a little bit about Miso Robotics in a few minutes, so stick around.
It'd be easier, for example, Brian, to just have our chips made off premise and then brought in bags. We're not going to do that. We're still going to make our chips fresh every single day. And really,
that's really interesting because the other company that I invest in, Tortilla, another Mexican chain that competes with Chipotle, it's the second largest in the world, although very much smaller. They actually produce their ingredients off-site. So it's interesting, Chipotle want to do it fresh on-site.
With Chippy, not only can we make it fresh during the day in the morning, which is what we do today, we have the opportunity to make it, make them fresh throughout the day as well. So we're looking to enhance.
What I mean by that, is that Tortilla prepare their guac and things like that on site, but some of the ingredients are off site. I think the meat, for example, is prepared off site and is refrigerated and delivered to the store.
It's culinary and enhance the experience of our customers. Make sure our food tastes, if anything, as good, if not better. And there's other opportunities. For example, dishwashing is not a job that our crews like to do either. It's very hot. It's kind of messy. There are things like that when we talk to our crews when they say, boy, it'd be great if I could spend less time or no time at all on these tasks. Those are the tasks.
Jack, that would be Dishy. That would be Dishy the robot.
Dishy. I love the name. Is that trademarked?
Not yet.
Dishy and Chippy the robot. I love these names. It's definitely very, very catchy.
Okay, great. So that's Chippy and that's Miso Robotics. We're going to talk a little bit about Miso Robotics right now. I'm going to go into slideshow mode. I've got some videos on Miso Robotics. I think that Chippy is a really interesting product for Miso Robotics. Actually, let's bring it back a little bit and talk about Chipotle and the impact it could have at Chipotle. Typically, Miso Robotics robots cost about $2,000 per store per month. And typically they save quite a lot. Sometimes I think it's about 30%, but it's quite a lot on labor costs. And of course, they make the environment a safer environment and a more enjoyable environment, and they save the company money as well. Now, I think Chipotle have 3,000 or 4,000 stores, and they're aiming to have 7,000 stores globally. So I actually did a forecast. I'm going to pull it up now, but it could be very good for Chipotle. They're obviously interested in it. I think they probably have higher costs than the other Mexican chain restaurants that I've seen because they're producing a lot on site. It sounds like they have plates, which we don't have with some other restaurant. Fast casual Mexican chain restaurants don't always have plates. They might have chefs on site as well. So anyway, I did a quick forecast and it came up as $14 million a month and $168 million per year if Miso Robotics were to supply one Chippy restaurant for their 7,000 restaurants. And I've kind of baselined the margin at 50%. It might not be. that'd be $80 million per year, just for if they supplied Chipotle with one Chippy restaurant per restaurant for their 7,000 restaurants. And let's talk about Miso Robotics now, because Miso Robotics are a small but growing robotics company. And if you haven't seen Miso Robotics, then essentially you're missing out big time. I'm going to quickly show you now. And this is the video in action, but I think Miso Robotics are a very exciting company, both for the Mexican chains and also just for robotics in general. So I'm going to quickly show you. This is a 7 seconds video. Let's just watch this one. Bear with me. It's very exciting. This is Miso Robotics. So, oh, wow, this is full of ads. Go away. Gotta wait 13 seconds. Here we go. So I think this product, by the way, is called Robots on a Rail. So you saw that movement at the top there. They can be produced kind of going across. And this uses not a lot of space in the restaurant. So, you know, restaurant chains like this because it doesn't use that much space, but you can get a lot done. Look at that, amazing. Yeah, you can do chips, you can do fries. You know, you saw that Chipotle, it can do these tortilla chips. But its base case is kind of burgers and fries. But look at that, they've got a paintings on this articulated arm. It's got cameras. I think it's very exciting. Well done if you've made it to this part of the video, because you get to see some of this incredible new technology which is going to change the world. Look at that. I mean, this is dangerous for employees to get involved. They can get hot oil all over them. It's hot and miserable as well. And this robot produces the chips at the right temperature and whatnot. And then a worker can just pick them up and then they're done, basically. Look at that, it saves them a lot of hassle and time. So that's just their fries version, but they have ones for robots for flipping burgers as well. So let's kind of go back to this, and I'm going to talk through Miso Robotics, right? So Miso Robotics, essentially, they're specializing in building advanced products and services for companies like Chipotle, And if we go back to my very fundamental and rudimentary forecast of brands like Chipotle, just with one of their robots, about $2,000 a month for 7,000, it works out at $168 million a year in revenue and 50% margin, 80 million per year. But let's say there were 30 brands as big as Chipotle in the world. That would be quite a lot. And if they averaged out in the future $100 million profit per year, that would be $3 billion profit per year. And with a 20x valuation on Miso Robotics, this is like a future valuation. It's not going to happen like right now. And by the way, I'm not a financial advisor, but I just like to use numbers and financial logic. So let's assume that Miso Robotics and robotic companies like Miso Robotics can supply companies like Chipotle, who are right now actively reaching out for these companies to produce their products. So I'm just taking it one step further to say they work and they get, over the next 5 to 10 years, they get rolled out into 30 major chains, and these companies are paying Miso Robotics to lower their working and labor costs and improve their restaurant environments and improve their profitability. Right, now, stick with me. 3 billion of profit times 20 is a $60 billion valuation of Miso Robotics. Now, I am an investor somewhat early, not as early as I would have liked to have been, I have invested at Miso Robotics at a valuation of $100 million. It is now valued at $500 million. That's what's happened in 2 years, or a bit less than 2 years. It's been a 5x jump in valuation of Miso Robotics. I honestly would not be surprised if they wouldn't, if they would be valued at this kind of valuation, 50 to 100 billion in kind of 10 years from now. So I think you can still invest in Miso Robotics. If you type in invested in Miso Robotics, you might be able to invest. And, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just an investor who likes to make videos about investing and trends and whatnot. But, there are risks, obviously, to investing in robotics. I think the main risk for Miso Robotics is their ability to deliver. The demand is like astronomical, but at the moment, right now in 2022, they're struggling to produce the robots. It's a bit like Tesla. I don't know if anyone has followed the Tesla story, but Tesla had an incredible product, and they still have incredible products, and the demand is just through the roof. Everyone wants Tesla. And it's a bit like that with all these, all of these robots, the Chippy, the Flippy, Chippy for Chipotle and Flippy for the burger chain companies. Like everybody wants one. And I think they're kind of logistics to actually build thousands of robots. Like Chipotle have 7,000 stores. McDonald's probably have hundreds of thousands of stores. I don't know how many they have, but a lot of these companies have a big store count, if you like. So, and if you imagine you're a Chipotle or McDonald's, like you don't want to just order 10 of these. If it works, you might want to order 1,000. And Miso Robotics and companies like Miso Robotics will have to scale their operations really quickly to be able to fulfill some of these orders. And if they can't fulfill them, which I think is the biggest risk, another company that specializes in manufacturing, might be able to potentially take some of that kind of pie, if you like. Now, what are the wider implications of robotics in other companies? Well, I invest in Chipotle's competitor. Now, it sounds a bit funny because Chipotle has competition, 100%, but the competition, the next largest Mexican fast casual takeaway chain is so much smaller than Chipotle. It's almost laughable. But I invest in them. They're called Tortilla. They have these kind of colors, similar colors to actually to this Miso Robotics color. But anyway, they're called Tortilla. They're in the UK. They have about 70 restaurants, and they're doing exceptionally well. They're growing store count, although they're, like I said, they're so much smaller. I think they have less than 100 restaurants at the moment. So, I don't think they're probably never going to have 7,000 restaurants, but they could have 1,000 restaurants. They could easily have 2,000 or 3,000. And I think if they're able to execute, they will go up significantly. They could go up 10x, 20x, 30x, maybe even 40x or 50x. So I don't know if Chipotle will do that. I might do a video comparing Chipotle versus Tortilla because they're the two biggest, even though Tortilla only has, 75, 100 stores or whatever, and Chipotle has 3,000 or 4,000. But as an investor, we have the opportunity to invest in anything. We can invest in Miso Robotics, we can invest in Chipotle, we can invest in Tortilla. And I think it's quite a good exercise to think about, well, where can I put my investment, dollars, pounds, euros? Do I want to put it upstream in the suppliers to the restaurants, like a robotics company? Do I want to put it in the market leader, like Chipotle? Or do I want to put it in a growth company like Tortilla? Now, all of these have different risk and return profiles. And I suppose maybe another video of mine could be comparing both Chipotle and Tortilla, the kind of battle of the Mexican restaurants globally. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. As you can see, the light has come into the room. It was very dark earlier on. This on my wall is nothing to do with investing. It's my wedding planning. I'm getting married 2 weeks and 2 days from recording this video. Probably by the time you watch this, I'll be married, which is fantastic. And anyway, I hope you've enjoyed these videos. If they have helped, smash the like button, consider subscribing. At some point in the future, by the time probably you're watching this, there'll be Discord. links and other community links that you might be able to join. So definitely join those. I am on Facebook, and you can email me if you want, progressiseverything@gmail.com. If you've got any comments, queries, questions, companies you'd like me to follow, definitely comment in the section below this video. If you're interested in investing in startups, I'll put a link to Seedrs, which is the ability to invest in companies at seed stage. So the smallest companies with the biggest potential. If you invest £150, you get £25 free, and it also helps support the channel. Guys, really hope you've enjoyed this video. Remember that knowledge is power, especially the right kind of knowledge, and progress is everything. I'll see you guys in the next upcoming video. Take care.